DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up to get amazing odds boosts every single day. I'm your host, Rudo, joined by AJ Hafley and Jesse Montano. Not a whole lot of Avs news today. They didn't practice, so they are just on their way to Toronto right now. But I guess tangential Avs news as... One, first of all, Sean Barron's invited to USA WJC camp. No big surprises there. We all saw that one coming. But two, and we'll see, we'll get into how much this really does play into the Avs, but a lot of chatter about Jake DeBrusk being on the trade market today. So I guess let me start with both of you. Should the Avs be interested in Jake DeBrusk?
Well, as AJ fights through something that's happening there.
I touched my eyes after touching hot things.
There it is. Yep.
Made poor choices. Yeah.
We'll get you.
Dumbass.
Because I could tell that you were in some type of distress, but I was like, I don't know if he just got like something in his eye, needs a quick eye drop, or I couldn't tell if you were needing to like scoop your eyes out of your head. So I just went with doing
well, so I sneezed with 7 seconds left on the countdown, and then I went to rub my face afterwards, and then as soon as I did that, my eyes like caught fire just as the show was starting. So that was great. But hey, I mean, this is exactly the kind of mishap you expect on a poorly shot pod.
Yeah, I was gonna say. No, I mean, I think it goes back to the conversation we were having yesterday, right? Just kind of, surface level. We were talking yesterday about how the Avs need a guy like kind of how Jake DeBrusk profiles, and we said that there's a few other guys outside of the Evander Kane route you could go, and wouldn't you know it, a day later, one crops up.
Yeah.
So you say a day later. Not really. Boston's been trying to trade Jake DeBrusk for a year.
Like a year, yeah.
It's been a long time that they've been basically after the Edmonton bubble. They were like, we got to move this guy, and then they just didn't. So when Rudo asks, should they go after a guy, buddy, what are we doing here? Why are you asking me yes or no questions?
This is the beginning. Give me a yes or no, and then we'll get into the details.
All I want to do is throw charts and graphs at you and say, look at all this shit.
We'll get to that. I need a yes or a no first, though.
Well, that's how I get to that's how I get to my yes or no. We got to go through a process here. All right.
You can't give us a straight answer, can you, AJ?
Well, it's a poorly shot pod on YouTube. Do you think I could just give you answers like this?
All right. Well, so let's assume the Avs are interested. Where does he fit into the Avalanche lineup as currently constructed?
Really, that's the other hard part of this, because where does he? Like, if Jake DeBrusk lives up to the potential and it's the best case version of Jake DeBrusk, you're probably putting him where Val Nichushkin is right now, right?
If he's hitting his absolute ceiling, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
For next season. Or later this season, at least.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the ideal, is that you're getting a second-line guy out of him who's, what, 24? 25. He just turned 25. So... I mean, you're talking the guy had 27 goals a couple of years ago. Like, this is a, this is a dude that would be a great fit next to Kadri and Burakovsky, just in terms of being able to bring some offense. But maybe the way that Val has provided value to that line so far, maybe on a third line next to Newhook and Jost would really be best. So going through his career, the most success that he had in Boston was next to David Krejci and Charlie Coyle. So you have a defensively responsible center. You've got a good two-way player in Charlie Coyle.
Okay.
Let him be, let DeBrusk kind of be the finisher there because he doesn't do a whole lot of playmaking. He's not much of a passer.
That's my concern with putting him on the second line. You have Kadri, who, thrives on individual plays. Berkey's kind of in a weird spot right now where he does put himself in a spot to be a distributor despite everyone on planet Earth begging him to shoot the puck and hit the net with it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And like, if you look at Burakovsky's career, he's always had the playmaking element to his career.
Sure.
He's had 25 assists each of the last 2 years.
He's not a bad distributor by any means, but I think the Avs would really like to see him be a goal scorer first. And
the reality is though that Burakovsky does a little bit of both.
Sure.
Like, he's got Burakovsky in his NHL career has 4 seasons with more than 20 assists. So like, he's gonna do that for you. It's just gonna happen, and because of his lack of aggression as a shooter, that you kind of have to coax him into it a little bit. He's looking for that, and we've seen him make plenty of nice plays when he's playing well.
And if that's the route they want to go with it, fine. But if you're putting DeBrusk on that line next to Kadri and Berkey, you have to understand that conceptually Berkey is going to be the passing player on that line. He's going to be the setup man to Kadri and DeBrusk finishing goals, because DeBrusk, outside of the oddity of his rookie season, he's not really a big guy when it comes to assists. He's going to be putting pucks in the net for you.
He's really not a playmaker. He wasn't a playmaker in the WHL either. He got drafted where he got drafted, and got to where he got, and had his most success in the NHL because he scored goals. Because he's a physical-ish guy. He's not very big. He's not small, but he's not very big. And he gets after. He plays hard. He plays with a certain element of sandpaper, and then scores goals. And you look at the first 3 years of his career, where Boston had no interest in trading him. He shot at least 11% in each of those years. And then last year, 5%. This year, 8%. So you're looking at that and you're like, he's not finishing at the same level. You're also talking about 41 games, 17 games this year, 41 last year. And you're talking about a guy that's losing confidence, that the team has lost confidence in. It's easy to look at this guy and say, this is a dude that's going to figure it out. Maybe not all the way, but this is a guy that you feel confident when he gets moved, he's going to go and land in a situation that if they put him in proper context, they're going to put him in a position to succeed, and he's going to be just fine. He probably isn't going to make an all-star team, but he should push for 20 goals. He should push for in the range of 15 to 20 assists, and he should be a good complementary player for you.
Okay.
So the answer would be
here.
The answer would be yes. The Avalanche should absolutely be interested.
Okay.
It took 9 minutes to get out of him.
We haven't even started.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We haven't even started.
Jesse, are you in agreement here? Would you like to see him on the second line, or do you think he does fit in better on that third line?
No, I mean, I think we get very caught up, and not us, hockey
in general
community and hockey Twitter in terms
this
of
is going to be real true
role and where guys fit. And I think we even, we see it a lot even with, prospects. I saw someone talking on Twitter yesterday about, I can't believe Jason. It's like, dude, there's some of these positions that there's other things going on. So to me, this is a guy that I think he fits what the Avs are looking for. And I think you bring him in and you plug him in on that third line with O'Connor, Newhook, Jost, Newhook.
However you want to mix it.
Yeah. However you want to mix that up. And that's where you start it. And if he really starts to, adapt to this system and find a lot of success, kind of, on a much larger scale than what we've seen from like Abel Kubel, where his game does look like it's adapting well to this system, then you've got some flexibility to move him up and down. There's another guy that, can plug into your top six, given some injuries. And then I also think this would be a great pickup for, because you're probably going to be able to re-sign him for a little bit less than, what you're looking at for Nuke right now.
Maybe.
And so that to me would be kind of the play there is you go and get him knowing that it probably extends beyond this season. They went way out of their way to not break up that second line when Nathan McKinnon was out. So I don't think they'd bring a guy like this in and immediately plug him in there. But I think he's definitely,
maybe not immediately, but
I mean, like who are you moving off that second unit right now?
Nichushkin.
Ooh, I don't know why you'd do that, but
fine, move Perky off of it.
But
that's
what I'm saying. Like they went to great lengths to keep that together. They obviously don't have much interest in doing that right now.
Like
unless
if they got him on day one, I don't necessarily think that he would be on this. If they got him today and he was in Toronto tomorrow, I don't think he would take Nuke's spot. I think he would.
No.
But I think in time, I'm still not believing that Val Nichushkin is a point per game player.
Well, yeah, you don't have to be a point per game player to be effective on the second line,
right? But I mean, that's where he is right now. He's got 8 points in 9 games.
Yeah,
I'm expecting some sort of drop off over time here, and like the Avs aren't going to just continue to score 5 goals a game. There's always going to be.
Do you know how many times Rudo said that in the last 3 weeks?
There's always a drop off, and for the Avs, it's usually called December. So I'm fully expecting that the next 4 weeks of our lives are going to suck. But I like it's going to slow down. Things are going to. The Avs have like 5 games at a point per game right now. Like things are going to chill.
Okay. Now we have to answer the most important question when it comes to the Avs acquiring anyone. Hot or not?
I actually don't know what he looks like.
All right. Well, here he is. Male model material or not? Chat, what do you say? You think he's hot enough to be an Av? AJ seems unsure.
I wouldn't hit it.
No, not for you. Let's see. Maybe I can find some other pictures of him too. I don't know. His headshots are not great, chat. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to show you his headshots because those are a definite no for me. Here you go. Here's a headshot where he doesn't look awful.
Oh, yeah, we must have somebody new to the pod.
It's like real small.
Asking,
Hi. Avs are a team of male models. It's a rule that you have to be a male model to play for the Avs. Sorry. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. I don't think he hurts them. I don't think he doesn't fit the brand.
All right. This is like the only picture of a headshot where he doesn't look terrible. So I don't know what to tell you. Chat, I see one hot. I see one not hot.
Cropped. What's going on here? If you see that shit on a dating profile, you know that's fake as fuck.
Yeah, there's something weird going on with his chin.
Yeah, can we get some answers from the lady contingent, because they're always the ones who are like, yeah, like Landy's good looking, but that's not the hottest guy on the team. And every dude ever is like, what? So
6 to 8 beer range. Let's not get crazy.
Where
all right.
Yo, if that dude's a 6.
I might be 6 to 8 beer range.
You might, if that dude's a 6, you might be living in LA. We're going to Arizona State.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of 6 to 8 beers, we are brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery. So if you need to get those beer goggles on, Breck Brew has you covered. 8 different kinds on tap down at the DNVR bar, or get it at your local liquor store. You can also find their Good Company hard seltzers too. Be sure to check those out if you're a seltzer person all the way around. And of course, also be sure to hit up the Ball Corporation. Maybe you need a little bit of extra beer money. Well, to be honest, Ball pays better than just giving you extra beer money. You're going to do a lot better than that with their current position, which is a production manager. They give a bunch of opportunities at Golden. If you want the application, go to jobs.ball.com or text Golden to 77222. They can get you all hooked up with that. They offer a bunch of great stuff, including full benefits, paid time off, all the normal stuff that, decent companies actually give their workers. So jump on that side of it, and you could also get hooked up with their learning service. I forget the actual name of it, but they will hook you up if you have holes in your resume with classes that can teach you those things and help fill in the gaps. So you're looking high and tight for any job applications you might be interested in. Super awesome. Again, check out jobs.ball.com for an application there. And once you have a little bit of extra spending cash, it's a great time to sign up for a DNVR annual membership. So you can get access to all of our content, which is pretty good if I do say so myself. You also, of course, get the rest of the sports in Denver as well. You got the Nuggets, you got the Broncos, you got the Rockies, which only bring me deep sadness at all times, but that's okay. Sometimes you need a little bit of sadness. Check out all the coverage. Obviously, you get a free shirt when you sign up for a membership too, so you can get one of our awesome shirts. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. All right. The other side of this conversation that would have very likely a good chunk of importance to do with what DeBrusk's role might be on the team comes to his cost. And we'll get into all of the numbers underlying in DeBrusk in a little bit, but I do want to talk about what DeBrusk would cost. Number one, the Avs do have to do something to make the cap work.
Not really.
I mean, sort of.
Not really.
Why not?
I mean, because Ryan Murray is about to miss the entire year, so you have $2 million that you can just throw on LTIR at any point. He only makes 3.7, so you're talking basic math here. You need 1.7 million of space, and that's assuming that you don't get them to retain on anything to just make it work and get a deal done. It's not. It won't be. It just won't be that difficult. It would not. It just with that. It just wouldn't be the current money. Just wouldn't be. It would be a lot more doable than people are acting like they have to include JT Compher or something. If they give one player salary back, even a minimum contract, they're fine.
Okay, so we can ignore the cap if you want then, but what's the cost here? Second, a third, a fourth? I'm assuming you wouldn't even consider a first for this guy, but
someone will.
You think?
Someone will.
I don't know.
Not.
The fact that he hasn't been traded for well over a year makes me think no one's given a first up for this guy.
Yeah, so if that was going to happen, that would be. That would be it. I mean, even if if Murray doesn't miss the rest of the year, he's missing the foreseeable future, where he goes on LTIR. So that's. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, over a dozen teams have already reached out on him in the last 24 hours, and I've just seen NHL GMs do too many dumb things to not think that someone won't trade a first-round pick for this guy.
I mean,
I don't think so. Taylor Hall didn't even get that shit. I mean, that was a special circumstance.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I don't think that you can give a first-round pick for a guy whose best season was literally, we're talking 3 years ago, man.
If you're looking,
I'm not saying I would.
I don't think they would either.
If you're looking at the past couple of seasons of production, you're essentially asking, would you give up a first-round pick for Tyson Jost?
No, I wouldn't. But I mean, look, this is a dude who's scored 30 goals in his career. He's under 29. Like I said, we've seen this movie play out year after year after year after year. We go, a first-round pick for that guy?
I genuinely don't know what Boston wants.
And that's the other part too.
They've got $3 million in cap space, and then they give up whatever they're going to give up in a deal, and however, like they can take money back if they want. They can take no money back if they want. They aren't really in a position, like they're not really in a spot where they need something obvious. And like Jake DeBrusk doesn't like fix their problems. To move him out isn't just magically like That I'm not the
All
one
his-
who underestimates how dumb GMs are. I literally every year Nate Thompson gets traded for a fucking 4th or 5th round pick every deadline. GMs are notoriously stupid. But with first round picks, those are super, super, super valuable. More valuable than they ever have been in NHL history.
I think,
And that's where parting with them is it is a really, and especially with the draft class that people really, really
I was
like.
gonna say this year the draft class is popping. Like
There's a lot of maybe I could see you could talk me into 2023 first before this year's first. That's not not for Jake DeBrusk. Not in current form. A couple years ago, probably, but not now. But I genuinely, and this is where I struggle because people are asking me, "Oh, what do you trade for?" I'm like,
you don't know. Yeah,
I have no idea what Boston wants. Like them getting actual value in return, that ship probably sailed. They've been trying to trade him for a long time now. He's only playing worse. So it's not like you can just be like, "Oh, we're going to ask for the moon because everybody wants this guy." Like, I'm sure that a bunch of teams, at least half of the league, has probably checked in on him and been like, "What's up here?" But I'm looking at Boston's problems, looking at their roster, looking at their cap situation. Genuinely, they can ask for kind of whatever they want.
Chat bringing up a decent point here. He has a base salary of 4.85 this year, making that his qualifying offer is an RFA at the end of the year. So would not be a cheap re-up if you wanted to give him the QO. Now, you can work out a deal with him that's less than the QO. There's a bunch of ways around that.
I was going to say, again, and also a future problem. And if he plays the way that you want him to play, like, do you remember Burakovsky got traded because he had a high QO?
Yep.
And Washington was like, now. And then spent the next 3 years trying to replace Burakovsky. So, like, you know, like it's this, that's a situation where if you're right about him, your scouting is correct, and you put him in a position to succeed, you pay him the QO and you're happy, or you give him a deal. It's not a big deal. I don't care about that. The QO doesn't bother me. The cap at the moment doesn't bother me. It's mostly just, what does Boston want? What do they have to have that's desirable?
On this show is that AJ doesn't care about money.
We've seen. How many times have we seen? It just doesn't matter. You can make it work. There are so many ways to make things work under the salary cap that it's just like.
So can I have $20 or?
Sure.
Sweet. All right.
There you go.
Easy. Thanks. I'll pick it up next time we're in the office. Yeah.
Hooked you up.
Okay. So continuing down this path, even without knowing what the price is, is this a deal, first of all, that you expect to get done before the deadline, or is this something that you think will build to the deadline and be a deadline acquisition?
I think by the new year would make sense, but also like that they've been after this deal for a long time, that he's been on the block, and Boston, it's not like Boston's been shy about him being available. It's not like him publicly requesting a trade is like, hey, Jake DeBrusk is suddenly available. Like, this is well known that they're at this position here.
Okay. So on the other side of that, then there are, when you are acquiring a player in season, I think particularly when you're in a position like the Avalanche or other top end teams are, it's very hard for me to say I want to do a deal unless I feel like that deal is the difference between the team winning a cup or not. And I'm just not convinced that Jake DeBrusk moves that needle enough to really matter.
How much did David Savard move the needle?
Almost exactly the same type of thing. Like,
how much did Nick Foligno move the needle?
But
how much did Taylor Hall move the needle? I mean, you never really know until you do it and you watch the needle move.
Of course. And in hindsight, obviously with the Savard one, it's like, well, you won the Stanley Cup, so good job. Like, it doesn't matter. You could have traded every single piece of the organization has forever. If you win the Stanley Cup, it's worth it. But
true.
I guess that's why GMs make the hard decisions and I sit on a podcast, right? Because I don't know. I don't know if I would pull that trigger.
Excuse me, it's a poorly shot podcast.
Don't forget we're on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the video, please. How much did that Dallas player in Game 7 move the needle? I mean, that guy wasn't a trade acquisition, but
yeah. Can we not talk about Yoel Kiviranta ever again? They did a tribute to him in Dallas, and I was like, this is cold shit. Like, this is cold shit.
So
That's fucked.
I guess, let me ask you this, Jesse. When you're acquiring a player like Jake DeBrusk, is it strictly for a what can he do for me right now move, or is this something that you're looking at being effective into the future too?
Well, I think the NHL's very much become a "what have you done for me lately" league in general. I don't know. This to me is kind of like, and I'm almost positive he's not UFA eligible, but this is almost kind of like a, hey, we want an earlier look at this UFA that we think has a ton of upside type move for whoever goes and gets him, especially in the Avs situation where I think if you're going out to get this guy, you're trying really hard to not give up anything meaningful off your roster, because you're saying this is a guy that we think middle or bottom six, depending on what point of the calendar you're talking about. We think he's an improvement over what we have in some areas, right?
Yeah, I mean, Nathan McKinnon comes back, you know, JT Compher comes back, you add Jake DeBrusk, Jason Megna's off your roster.
Right. And Abel Kubel as totally fine as he's been. Yeah. He now kind of becomes your flex guy. And how much more comfortable do you feel with him coming into the lineup versus Jason Megna, Kiefer Sherwood type, you know?
Is Abel Kubel a guy that you consider for DeBrusk? Not straight up. I don't think
no.
Take
Not,
that.
yeah,
you would have to give something else.
Like
but
Kubel in a third or something. Yeah.
I mean, Kubel, like, again, I really don't know what Boston wants. If they want one of Colorado's prospects, like we could each decide. Okay, let's just use Abel Kubel as a as like a moving piece here. As like, let's say Abel Kubel for money purposes. We'll just go with that reason. For money purposes, let's say Abel Kubel is the guy. All right, where is the prospect line that you're comfortable with the guy being included or not? So let's say,
saying Abel Kubel instead of Abel Kubel plus a pick, it's Kubel plus a prospect?
Plus a prospect. Let's just run through some of the prospects and see where the line is for each of us, just out of curiosity here.
Yep.
So let's say Abel Kubel and Bowers.
I would say at this point.
Yeah.
I think Boston would probably say no to that though.
Me too. But from a Colorado perspective, work with me, guys. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I said yes. I said yes.
So okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean that guy.
Abel Kubel and Kaut.
Yeah.
I'd ask again in 10 games when we see what Kaut's doing.
Abel Kubel and Justus Annunen.
No.
Abel Kubel and Sampo Ranta.
No.
Abel Kubel and Drew Hellison.
That's probably right on the line for me.
I probably would, just because you've got two other defensive prospects that you're high on. So I would say yes.
Abel Kubel and Jean-Luc Foudy.
Yes.
I'd probably yes, but I wouldn't like it.
Okay. And then I was working my way up to this, but what about just Tyson Jost?
1 for 1?
1 for 1, or I think I'd even do it with Kubel, honestly. I think, that'd be fun.
You would do Jost and Kubel for DeBrusk?
Yeah, sure.
But you wouldn't do Jean-Luc Foudy and
I said I would. I just wouldn't like it.
Yeah. I would also, it would hurt to give up Foudy because I just love the guy. So it's like, not even thinking about future potential. I'm just like, I just want to watch it play.
Here would be the issue though with moving Jost and Kubel in that situation is you're kind of undoing some of what you're like trying to accomplish by bringing in Jake DeBrusk.
I don't think moving Kubel matters. I think you could drop
No,
Martin out
no,
into
no.
Kubel's role, and you would not tell the
Yep.
difference. Basically,
No. I'm saying Jost and Kubel, because to me, the whole point of going out and acquiring a DeBrusk is to beef up, like I said, your bottom or middle six. And if you're gonna remove Jost,
I mean,
who would
I
Go
think
ahead.
you're getting a 1-for-1 improvement of a player there. The problem with that move for me is Jost plays center, and that's where it
Right.
becomes an issue. Well, sometimes Jost plays center.
Well, if we're talking about the Avs forward core being healthy here, Jost is. I kicked Megna off the roster because I put Jost as the 4C.
Right.
Yep.
And DeBrusk is not going to play center. Well, he doesn't really play center anyway.
And I mean, you just feel so much better with McKinnon, Kadri, Compher, Jost down the middle. And then, I mean, like, honestly, if you were to add DeBrusk,
You just got rid of Alex Newhook. Like, what just happened?
well, he's not playing center right now.
Yeah, he is.
Is he though?
If we're living this dream scenario, Newhook's playing second left wing
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I actually had this conversation with Jost the other day where he was like, "You know how we do things? It's complicated."
Right.
Where he was like, "I'm doing a lot of the heavy lifting defensively for Newhook while he gets up to speed on how to play center." But he was like, "He's playing center. I wish I was playing center, but I can help him there." And that's where my experience of center last year is really helping us this year. And I was like, "Oh, that's a fun perspective."
They found this thing that works where Landy plays center in the defensive zone for that line. They're like, what if we just do this on every line?
That was also what he mentioned to me, where he was like, I mean, Landy's been doing it for years. And I was like, yeah, this is true. This is true.
But so I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. But so I mean, and honestly, just bringing up Newhook just kind of furthers that. It's like, okay, well, now you've got another guy who is coming up to play up the middle. And if he's not playing in the middle, to Rudo's point, like now suddenly your wings are just stacked on at the very minimum your top 9, and that fourth line still looks pretty good. That's the only reason why I just wouldn't love giving up 2 current roster players, because that just undoes a little bit of what I think you'd be trying to accomplish if you're the Avs by bringing in a player like DeBrusk.
Maybe they'll take Darren Helm instead.
Ooh, that'd be dope.
Yeah, you'd do that in a heartbeat if they were going to do that.
That dude is such an anchor.
I'm saying he should be the scratch. But
well, when they get healthy, I think that's a real conversation. And then everybody's favorite conversation, JT Compher. I know we on the pod tend to feel a little differently than the Avalanche fan base, who's like, JT Compher for literally anything. But, you know.
So answering the JT Compher question is basically, how much do you believe in DeBrusk? Jake DeBrusk's best is a better player than JT Compher. Is he going to get there? There's reason to believe he's better than he can be in Boston right now, but you're gambling a little bit.
If you're Boston, though, doesn't Compher make?
Yeah, if you're Boston, it makes a ton of sense for.
Well, if you're Boston and you're just trying, like, you're like, hey, we want a guy that's going to help us immediately.
Yeah, totally.
And also isn't expensive or signed long term. Like Compher would make a lot of sense, right?
Are you saying Compher for DeBrusk 1-for-1?
Yes,
I'd do that. Yeah,
even if you had to add, we won't say any picks in the top 3 rounds, but even if you had to add,
a 5th or whatever, yeah,
sure. Yeah. If you had to add a prospect, where would your line be there? Would it be like Janila Jaravalov?
Yeah, it'd be pretty junky, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a mid-range prospect, a middle round pick.
If they asked for Trent Miner, I would get really nervous. I would be like,
what do you see that I don't?
Why are you asking? Because like that's an organization that's been pretty good with the goalies for a few years. So I would be like, that you like that dude. I don't know about this.
Yeah. No, I think a Compher 1-for-1 swap would be good, because then it does kind of.
Sorry.
On a lot of teams.
Yeah, Compher would not be
Certainly
on the
not
second
on
line of a lot of
Boston.
teams.
Yeah.
He would be second line on a lot of bad teams.
I was just about to say, I think there is like a weird chunk of like 10 where he is like a solid top 6 forward right now.
Dude, he's the top center in Arizona.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I was thinking like Arizona, Seattle,
Ottawa somehow again.
Yeah. Still somehow.
No way. He would not be in Ottawa's top 6.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Are you guys fucking kidding right now?
The way Ottawa's
Are you guys funning with me?
No, I mean he was in the Avs top 6 for like 2 weeks before he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean there were injury reasons for that.
I know.
I'm just saying, like Ottawa. I don't know. I think I like Ottawa. So go
You
ahead.
really
Sorry.
like Artem Zub that much? I guess he's a D, right?
Yeah, he's actually a super dope defenseman. He might be the most underrated defenseman in the NHL outside of Vladislav Gavrikov.
All right. Enough hot
Zub
takes
just
for
such a-
one pod here.
Yeah, such a cool last name.
Yeah. Zoop.
Damn. Oh yeah. No, I don't know. I think Compher, he's definitely got his lumps, but I think he's been valuable to the Avs in his time here.
Like categorically, he would play the same role as DeBrusk on the team, right? Middle six swing guy that kind of just fills into the lineup and does whatever you need him to do.
DeBrusk doesn't have the center versatility.
True. Can't play
Compher has also gotten his ass kicked at center, so it's kind of like
I was just about to say I actually think that would be a move that would actually make a ton of sense for the Avs, because you'd kind of be, Rudo, to your point just now, you'd kind of be swapping like for like, and you would get rid of a center, and so now you could just move Newhook permanently to the middle on that third line,
right?
And then Jose is your 4C when healthy. And suddenly you've got Newhook skating with, O'Connor, Nichushkin, DeBrusk, kind of filling your blank.
LOC in this whole conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. He exists.
I just forgot all about him. I was like,
what if they asked for LOC?
I don't know if the Avs would want to do that right now. The coach is just, I think they're just way too high on him.
I think the contract extension changed the math.
I'd still do it even with the contract.
I mean, it would be like if you did it, like if they asked for him like straight up, of course, you do that. Yeah. But with LOC's new deal, I think that it makes him more valuable than he otherwise would have been.
Yep, I agree. I think
the contract raises his value above his actual on ice contributions.
That's fair.
Which are still, and I think this is kind of where you're going with that. Like which are still kind of. We're waiting to see what type of player he actually settles into long term. Because by the end of that season, or by the end of this season, or middle of next season, that extension could look even better. And I just know the coaches really like him right now, and I just don't know how excited they'd be to get rid of that.
I mean, I don't think they'd be excited, but it would be like you're talking about like Jake DeBrusk at 20 gold. Like this is very, very similar. Jake DeBrusk's situation is very, very similar to Andre Burakovsky's in Washington.
Yep.
Where you're looking at it and you're like, this guy has proven he can play. This guy has proven he can score, specifically score goals. This guy has proven that he can do some things that are really, really valuable in the NHL. And
it's incredible how quickly LOC has become the new Matt Calvert on this hockey team, where the fan base would like die for that man.
Yeah. Where they're like, for a guy who scored 27 goals 3 years ago, they're like,
would do it.
All right, well, you got 50 fucking games of him being fun to watch. You guys are easy, so.
Okay. We do have to hit up DraftKings Sportsbook right now. You can't bet on whether Jake DeBrusk is going to get traded to the Avs just yet, but who knows? Maybe that'll come up. Here's the bet that I wanted to ask you guys about. Who would you take for the Calder right now? Raymond?
Yeah.
Cider?
No, Raymond.
It's Raymond.
Fire him for an outside shot. I bet you get good odds.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Let me see. Maybe
I might actually do that.
Anyway, hit up DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account right now. If you bet $1, you can get $100 in free bets if the team you bet on scores a point and wins. So bet on a team you think is going to win. Get the $100 in free bets with your new account with the DNVR code. Super fast, super easy. And then you can just have fun. You can take one of those free bets and bet it on futures of who's going to win the Calder. Let's see. Here we go. Calder Trophy. Raymond is plus 200, Sider 450, Byram plus 2,000 to win the thing. As the fifth highest. Raymond, Zegras, Mercer, and Sider are the only ones ahead of him. So, not bad odds.
I tell you, Dawson Mercer, man, I loved him in his draft year. Whew.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was going to happen this fast.
There's some other interesting ones down the way. Vladar is plus 2,500. Cole Sillinger is plus 3,500.
He just won't score enough. Cole
Yeah,
Sillinger is Ryan O'Reilly 2.0.
No, dude, just watching Byram the other night. I mean, he's
the shit, dude.
Dude, he looks so good.
He could have had a hat trick in the first period against Nashville. I was sitting there just shouting at the TV on the couch, just shouting at it like, he's so good. He's so good. He's so good. You don't even understand.
Before
I felt like Seth Rogen in what was the movie where he was a cop and with McLovin?
Oh, Superbad.
Thank you, Superbad. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not.
He's the fastest kid alive.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, he's the fastest kid alive, except it was more like, he's the greatest defenseman I've ever seen. And then like Kel McCarr goes off, and I'm like, there's two of them.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Well, and like the most hockey nerd thing I did that entire game the other night was I was seriously audibly reacting just to his cut before he even scored that goal. I was like, oh my God, what a great job finding open ice. Oh, and he's calling for the puck. Oh my God, and he scored. Like, it was just just such great awareness, great vision.
He did it the fancy way too. Like, he absolutely could have just gone to back post and tapped that into a wide open net. But he's like, nah, I'm a cut across the goalie and put it top corner,
Short side, elbow in. Yeah.
It's so, and to be honest with you, to cut across like that, knowing that the goaltender is coming across, it's really, really smart.
Yep.
That's hockey IQ. When people are like, what does that mean? It's like, that's that shit. A dude that knows that he's cutting across the goaltender's movement, making it harder for him to stop the puck. That's that hockey IQ shit.
All right, so go bet on Byram on DraftKings. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Also, hit up Strava Craft Coffee, the CBD-infused coffee that has really helped change lives. It helps with migraines, aches and pains, IBS, joint pain, all sorts of crazy stuff. It's really, really nice. A lot of people love it. You can get 25% off when you use code DNVR25 with your first purchase. And then you can go get yourself a better way to sleep with Snooze Sleep and their 4-in-1 mattress. Firm, soft, hot, cold. Just flip the mattress for firm or soft. Flip the mattress cover for hot or cold. Up to 10 degrees difference. Super easy way to get the type of sleep that you're looking for, no matter what it is that fits your sleeping style. They're also local to Colorado, so support local with Snooze Sleep. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. All right. We've kicked around long enough. Let's get into some of the dirty details of DeBrusk's underlyings here. Which graphic should we start with here, AJ?
Let's go with last year versus this year.
All right.
The WAR comparison.
I didn't put these in here. All right, there you go.
See. That's the one. So last year, there's a reason that he's on the trading block, right? Last year, not great. This year, different version of not great.
Marginally better, mostly.
Yeah.
Look at see. This is where I look at that finishing percent, and I'm like, oh,
Yep.
This is where the buy low comes in. Okay.
Yep.
For a guy with a 7 goal season, is it 28 goal season, something like
27.
that.
He had 16 his rookie year, and then 27, and then 19. He's never played in 82 games. So
yeah, there's some room for more finishing there, to say the least.
Yep.
You also brought up this more. I don't know if it was on Discord or Twitter, but is Jake DeBrusk the type of player that can benefit from playing with more talent?
Yeah. So if you go and look at the most success that he had, he was playing next to Krejci and Coyle. And then this year, they ended up putting him into more of a depth position with Eric Howla, who, if anybody was paying attention over the summer podcasts, that guy sucks. He has not been good for a couple of years. And after the injury issues kind of went away, you really got an idea that like Eric Howla sucks now. Like the injuries might have sapped him of what made him effective, but right now Jake DeBrusk playing his most common line mates are Craig Smith and Eric Howla. Now, like Craig Smith's a good goal scorer, and that's about it.
Yep.
So having him and Jake DeBrusk on the same group,
trying to do the same thing a little bit.
And then you have it's a donut line, man, because you've got a giant hole in the middle with Eric Howla. You just can't have that. And then after that is Curtis Lazar and Tomas Nosek.
Yeah.
Like he's being used as a bottom six guy. Now we're talking about him as a bottom six guy here, but if you look at where he was most successful, it's when he had quality line mates that brought out the best in him. You look at Andre Burakovsky, and there's a reason I keep bringing this up. Andre Burakovsky was used as a third, fourth line guy at various times in Washington. They were unhappy with him. They felt that he was overpaid, and they decided that, hey, we want to move him to a team that's going to give him a chance to actually play a little bit more. And look what's happened. The guy blossomed. So I think that and blossomed to previous levels because Burakovsky early in his career was quite productive when he was playing on higher lines. Got moved down, had the issues, got traded, got better opportunity, produced. Fucking magic.
So
this one feels to me, I'm like, look, Burakovsky is instructed. Like Burakovsky is what this looks like if it goes well. The team gets him, they put him in a good spot, and they work on it. But it has to go well. I mean,
yeah, of course. That's what you risk you're taking.
If it doesn't, you're just like, well.
All right. So show me some charts that are going to convince me it's going to go well, AJ.
Oh, I don't know if I've got those. Basically, let's go with the way that he drives play. Let's go with his offense and defense this year.
All right. So Boston's defense width is at -14,
which is good. It's without him is even better. But even at -14, it's good. Like that's a really, really good number.
So compared to -25 without.
So worse.
Yeah.
But you keep in mind the -14 is relative to league average.
Sure. He's still quite solid defensively, and then getting into relative to the team, there's going to be some factors pushing both ways. But
yep. And then if we've got the offense, that would be great. We can just see offense with and without him. Not great.
Perfectly league average with
this is where quality of teammates is going to come in because if you show with Deprusk and then if you show without him, it's a little bit worse. But then if you show the isolated impact of it, you'll see that Jake DeBrusk is driving the hell out of some play on his own, just on his own. Yeah. Now defensively, he looks worse in the isolated impact, but his offense looks a lot better.
Well, and I mean, look at what I really like about the offensive impact is look at where that big red dot is right in front of the net.
And I did not send it to Yahir, but I did go and look at where his shots were coming from the last couple of years.
Yeah,
that area is where the majority of them are coming from. And the fact that he shot 5% last year and is shooting 8% this year, where that's where his chances are coming from, that number is going to go up. Wherever he lands, you can almost guarantee that number is going to go up.
So I do wonder where a player that scores those type of goals is best utilized there, because we talked earlier where it's like, well, maybe Burakovsky needs to be more of the passing guy on that line. But if you're using DeBrusk as a guy that can just stand in front of the net and bang home rebounds, things like that, we already know the Avs love to activate their D in the offensive zone. Maybe that's a tool that allows the line of Burakovsky and Kadri to free up a little bit more and just fire pucks with a guy in front.
So to make a comparison here, Burakovsky is just a great natural shooter. He's a guy that's going to beat goaltenders. DeBrusk is going to be a lot more of your James Van Riemsdyk type, where he just kind of stands in front of the net, tips puck home, bangs home pucks, finds them right around the net, and beats goalies that way. He's not as much of a like really high level shooter. He has a very good shot. It's got a heavy shot, but him scoring goals right in that crease area is where it's going to happen.
Okay. Super chat here from Rich. Thank you very much for the $5. Overall, not a good week for the Bruins. The DeBrusk stuff, Marchand suspended, and Joe Sacco is head coach while Cassidy on COVID protocol. Rough.
Dude.
But hey, Joe Sacco is head coach. Yeah.
I mean, you keep in mind, like that guy took a team to the playoffs that probably didn't belong.
Yep. Has experience.
So did Patrick Waugh.
Yeah. It happens. Just saying, you could probably stay afloat with the talent that he has on hand, and he's not like leading. Like he's a fill-in. Like, come on. Joe Sacco was a bad head coach because his players hated his guts. As an assistant coach, he's been really effective because he just does
have to be the guy in the locker room.
Exactly. He does the thing. He does what he does best, which is X's and O's. He was a good X's and O's head coach.
A couple of things.
I'm actually surprised that he has not gotten another look, just given the way that they recycle coaches in this league.
His power play statistics here. Power play not good.
Yeah, and this is where some of the other issues are, is that and like 24 minutes, like you see,
obviously SSS
really small sample size here, but dude is not
the opposite. There is nothing happening in that front on that power play. Boston's off power play without him, significantly better, but part of that is he plays on the second unit, so
yep.
Second units are worse.
Second units, it's all small sample sizes.
Yeah,
it's all small sample sizes.
His individual ISOs over the course of his career, you can see that the expected goals for numbers have actually been moving in the correct direction.
Yep.
So
drive and play gives a little bit of it back defensively, but that's where you tether him to good defensive players.
Yep.
That's why I'm like, if you can get him with a Jostin and a Chushkin, that could be a lot of fun. If you can get him with just an Chushkin and then you put Newhook in the middle, that could be a lot of fun. So there's a lot of different variations here. I mean, obviously, if you put him next to Kadri and Burakovsky, you're looking at that plus 8%, and you're like, let's make that thing plus 12%. We'll just go hard, right? And whatever you give back, and we can live with. But go hard on the offense and the driving of play, and just see how it goes.
It's not. You look at these plus side numbers on the defensive side, and it's like those aren't good, but those aren't gonna kill you.
No, those are passable. That's the same kind of defensive impact that Eric Johnson has.
Yep.
So you're just like, yeah, this is fine. No, he's nothing like Jonas Donskoy.
Very different. Yeah. All right. One final one here, his overall player card from Jay Fresh.
Yep, and this is where you get to see even last year when he struggled, he was pretty good.
Yep, there's still an argument to be made that he's a positive effect.
Last full year, sorry, not last year, not the 56 game season where they were like, we got to trade this guy. But you see the finishing has just been on a straight down his last 3 years. And then the defense has gotten worse in the last 2 seasons. So not great.
But you can see the pretty low number when it comes to quality of teammates and competition, to be fair. But
yeah, and quality of teammates has a much, much bigger impact on quality of competition. And him losing the role that he did really hurt him because he just is not meant for the role that he's in Boston, which is why he's struggling. He needs to be a guy that you put him with talent, you'll get results.
Okay. I think we pretty much covered it. Do we have anything else?
Jack Hughes might be signing a long-term contract today.
He's also playing tonight.
The Rockies might be signing Chris Bryant for some insane reason.
I have a lot of questions about that, but okay.
Brant Clark did not will not play for Team Canada WJCs. That's crazy.
Their full roster should release tomorrow, right? So,
any thoughts with the Sean Barons? I know we kind of touched on it at the top of the show, but
I think he makes it.
Yeah, that defensive group is.
It's good.
It's a really, really deep group of 10 defenders. So Sean Barons, that's tough competition. If he makes it, man, it's a
I think he
legit
does.
feather in his cap.
Yeah, I was gonna say it speaks very highly to him.
Yep.
Or about him, of him.
Yeah, definitely.
For him.
It's
With
good.
It's true. It's good.
Okay. I guess we're going to get out of here then. Thank you, everyone, watching, listening, however you consume the pod. We appreciate all of y'all. We will be back tomorrow with lots of stuff. Pre-game and post-game, as always. But we're also doing a watch-along on playback. Keep your eyes peeled on the DNVR Lounge, the Discord channel.
Are we doing that tomorrow?
Yeah, we're doing it tomorrow. So we'll be live during the game. You can watch along with us with the link. We'll be dropping in the Discord. So be sure to go check that out and come have fun with us for the Leafs game. Hopefully, hope to see you there. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.